Welcome, welcome, welcome to Ask an Arborist live Q&A. We are here today on this beautiful 15th of January, 2026. Y'all believe that? I still can't believe that. It's bananas that we are even dealing with this moving into a new year thing. It's basically 2027 now, I think. And we're coming at you with this. This is our 46th live Q&A episode, and glad to have you guys. If you'll just bear with me here, I am trying to share this to our arborist group, and I'm also trying to share this to I've got a next door page, and I used to do some really cool stuff where I just teach my neighbors, and that was really fun. I stopped doing that for a while. I don't know why, but I just did. Just because I got tired of it. That's all there is. Just get rid of posting all these different things. But now these guys, they deserve to have their trip with me just a minute now. And I am going to go ahead and try to share this live with the next door. I don't know if I can do a live stream, but that's okay. We're going to do this to National Arborist Group. Right on. In case y'all wonder what I'm doing here. Oops, that's a better view. Cool. I wonder if we could do this. Just copy the link, and I'm going to put it over here on next door as well. And then we're going to start talking about y'all's tree questions, because that's the right thing to do. That's what we're here to do, you guys. So welcome. I see a couple of y'all on here. Thanks for joining me tonight. We don't have a lot to go through, but maybe we could talk about some other cool things that has been going on in the tree care world. Looks like we're good. Oh, what's up, Jordan Mark Oliver? Come on in, buddy. If you can join me. All right, so I think we're good here. Yep. Good to go. So let's get right into it. All right, and we're even shared there. Lucas, if you're with me, buddy, I know Lucas is not here with me yet. He may be watching, I'm not sure. But he's driving back. He had to help out his cousin or one of his family members out in San Antonio. So he's been driving since the wee hours of the morning. So y'all just bear with me here because I'm like a bull in a china cabinet. What's that old, I forget who the guy was that quoted it, Einstein or one of those guys. But they said if you judge a fish by his ability to climb a tree, you'll always think he's an idiot. Yes, I like that. That's like I'm like a fish trying to climb a tree right here when it comes to all this technology stuff. So miss you, Lucas, but get home safely and join us when you can. Right on. So we are going to get right into it. Let's start off with Mark Dunia. He says, "Hi all, just wanted to introduce myself and share a photo that I took. It looks like a cat in a tree. By the way, if you ever get your cat stuck in a tree, there's a website for that. I think it's catinatree.com. And no, that's not right. That's a tax service. Believe it or not, that exists. Cat tree rescue, cat stuck in a tree. Where are you, buddy? RescueMyCat.org. Cats do get stuck in a tree. It's not right. Catinatree.com or RescueMyCat.com. Let's see what this is. It's just chasing a squirrel. No, there's a guy out of Oregon, and oh, I'm drawing a blank. It's on the tip of my tongue. But he started a... Dan Kraus. Kraus. CatInATreeRescue.com. My bad. But he's got a little network, actually, I believe, of people from all over the world. Directory of resources, I think it is. There we go. So I think I may be on there for the Texas area, North Texas area. Yeah, right on. Yeah, so there's my buddy Jim Dunlap, Tree Limb Jim. He, I actually had they did take mine off, thank God. But Tree Shepherds, Scott Gear, another phenomenal. I think both of them are Board Certified Master Arborists right now. You got Keith Baberny in Austin, Temple, Texas. You got my boy Andrew Machuca in Aza. You got Christopher Rasmussen, who has the most epic beard you'll ever meet of a tree guy. I don't know Charles Morris, but Neville Man, he's a good friend of mine. He had just called, actually. I got to get back with him. And I don't know Ziggy either, but maybe we need to know. So Ziggy, if you're watching, hit me up. Just catch me here or wherever. But yeah, we need to know each other. Keith Brown's another great guy. All these guys are top arborists, and so you can just find it it's CatInATreeRescue.com. If you ever get your cat stuck in a tree, I don't even know why we're doing that. Oh, right, because of Mark's picture. That is a really cool. Looks like some kind of sequoia, and then that's a really cool old stump. Who knows how old? Right on, but I appreciate the picture. That's fun little tree stuff. All right, Jay is talking about a tree cut down in the stump. Cut a tree down on the stump and replace it with a field-grown cherry plum, non-fruit bearing. Amazing color, burgundy leaves, definitely different. This was a Bradford pear originally, so all the roots had to be aggressively removed. Yes, they do. And putting the new tree in will deter it from growing back. So in Texas, they don't tend to keep growing like that, Jay. But the Bradford pears, but they can be invasive. You'll get little root suckers that'll pop off if you just cut the tree down. Even if you grind the stump, sometimes they'll grow off of the roots. So normally that's enough to unalive a tree. But yeah, they can be a pain. Those Bradford pears. I've met a lot of painful Bradfords in my life at this time. There's some of you that get that joke. All right. I don't know what this is or how it got added, but what is this? Looks like an Arbro, but I don't know what that is. Let's see what we got. Okay, this is not the kind of post that we accept, y'all. That is gone. Amy, what are you doing? Healthcare provider at positive. It's not okay in this group. We're not going to play that. So that is a automatic suspension. Isn't this fun, you guys? You're just going through trying to get your tree care questions answered, and I'm cleaning the house. No spam promotion or self-advertising. Oh, right. And then we're going to delete this. All right, so now we get into the real questions, you guys. The reason you're all here. Maybe not. What is this? Okay, so this is another post yesterday at 12:03. How are these getting through? That's crazy. All right, nurse log. Looks like you got a bunch of different species growing off of this log. And basically what's happening here, and this is maybe we could just talk about what's going on a biological level here, is that log, that stump becomes then essentially a starting point. It becomes a food source for all of these other varieties. So when a tree falls in a forest, you know, we'll talk and we'll joke, you guys and I, we'll just say like, hey, if a tree falls in a forest, who cares? This is why. All of that log then becomes starter food for everything else that's going to grow there. So you got some kind of spruce here. You got some moss growing on it. So you got all these different things. I'd be willing to bet there's literally hundreds of thousands, or tens of thousands at least, of different microorganisms that are calling that place home as well. So nature's really cool. This also doesn't really belong on this page, though, so we're going to delete it. Ralph, that's not a self-promotion type of thing, so I'll leave your... Oops. Wrong button. I'll leave you in the group. You're not getting a suspension. But be careful what y'all post, y'all. We keep this clean here. It has to be relevant. I need to add that as an automatic ban. Or not ban, but ban the... ban those types of posts anyways. All right, we're moving on. So here we're getting to the good stuff, y'all. All right, good evening. How would a certified arborist prune this maple in central Ohio? This is where we get into the good, juicy stuff, you guys. So pruning is one of my favorite things. Here's the thing, is you've actually got some really good factors in this tree, and then you've got some really weak factors in this tree as well. Now, anytime we're looking at potential structural failure, we look at number one, what's the likelihood of failure? In this case, I think great. We'll discuss why here in a minute. But then the second factor we want to consider is what happens if it fails. And like, what are the consequences? So if a tree falls in a forest, who cares, y'all? If a tree falls on your two houses here, probably on the bedrooms, it looks like maybe the living room's over here and the bedrooms are over here. That would not be good. I don't know about y'all, but when I'm sleeping in the middle of the night, I prefer for my trees not to come crashing through my roof and crushing me, and that sort of thing. So, or even my car, or even my fence, or whatever. And so, what's the likelihood? What's the consequences if it does? So let's go to the old whiteboard here, and oops, there we go. And let me show you why this matters. So what we're looking at is we've got a maple, and it's got kind of three different really poorly attached limbs. Something like that. Okay, so here's the problem, is those really narrow branch unions that we're seeing here, that is just terrible visual, isn't it? That's worse. That's better. All right, so we've got a tree, maple tree. We've got a bunch of these little limbs coming off of it, and they've all got these really weak, narrow branch unions, kind of like this. And so what happens is the fibers, instead of wrapping around themselves, so like on a normal branch union that has a very wide branch union like that, what's happening is the fibers are all growing around the fibers from this branch. And so what forms is you get this interlocking series of fibers, and that becomes a really, really strong branch union. However, when they grow together really tightly like this, oops, if you can see me here, and you've got, we call that a codominant lead, and here you've got what I would call a tridominant lead, but codominant is the actual term. And so what happens is all the fibers are all growing the same directions. So think of it like string cheeses. You can just rip it apart. And the fibers, they don't lock like they do on a good wide branch union. And so that's the physiology of why that works, and how that works. So let's go back to our tree here. And you've got basically all of those really weak branch unions. And I might not have drawn a really good representation of the tree itself. But the problem is the branches are directly, this little one at least, is directly facing that house. This one could fall into the street kind of at a diagonal like that. And this one would probably fall right around in front of that truck. So either way, it's not great. You've got a tree that if it were to fall, there's some consequences. So how do we prune it? Well, that's the great question, isn't it? What I would do is I would focus on the very, very tips of the branches, reducing weight on there. What's up, Sprout? Glad to have you, buddy. So I would do, like, for example, you've got a lot of weight on the ends of these. Now, here's one of the good things about this tree is you actually have really, really strong taper. Taper is where it starts off wide, angles up until you get a fine point. And the greater the angle of that taper, the stronger the tree or the branch or whatever is going to be. And so that taper is really important. But you've got a series of 3 basically that are very, very weak. So what I would do is I would actually come in on the very tips, way out on the ends here, and I would reduce some of the weight up there. That's going to reduce the leverage, and it's going to reduce the actual wind sail factor as well. So when you have less leaves in a part of the tree, that's going to catch the wind less, thereby producing less force on the tree and on those weak branch unions there. And so reduce the weight. That's number 1. But then if they get really crafty, as hey, what's up, Matt Neff? Glad to see you here, buddy. Hey, we had a great time, Matt and I. He's an awesome drone operator, by the way. He was showing me some of his work with some other arborists, and we might try to incorporate some of his work. Lucas, if you're listening, keep note of this, because Matt's a great guy. He's really got an eye for it, and that's kind of one of those artist things. When you're looking for a photographer, you know, my wife has set up all these scheduled appointments with all these different photographers for our family and all that, and then eventually we kind of whittled it down to one particular person, and that's because they had an eye for how to make us look beautifuler. And so same with Matt. He's really got a great eye for how to position shots. So on some of our bigger projects, by the way, Matt, if you're listening, that tree that I looked at after we met that morning, it was actually 63 inches in diameter. I think I told you 33 inches in diameter. So that's a tree that was transplanted by none other than treemovers.com. Really cool project. I did not get a chance to be a part of the actual transplant of that monster tree. I'll put out a video here in just a bit. But he, 63-inch diameter tree. I'll show you. I got to text you those pictures. I meant to the other day. But hey, what's up, Bob? Glad to have you here, buddy. And all the way up in our northern neighbors up in Canada. So glad to have you here. You know what's really cool is I do expert witness work, Bob, and I've got 2 cases right now going on in Canada, of all places, specifically Toronto. Yeah, 63-inch diameter. Yeah, if y'all want to have some fun, check out treemovers.com. David Marks, one of the co-owners, kind of a friend of mine, he's sent me some pictures and some videos that'll blow your mind with like giant live oaks on top of barges floating down the Mississippi River and stuff like that. So really cool folks up there. And they were kind enough to get me connected with the developers out there. 63-inch tree. We'll be doing a whole kind of docu-series on that about our preservation throughout this project. So really neat project, and I'm glad to be a part of that. But anyways, sorry, Jeff, Jason, Neff, Jeff, Jason, I'm mixing y'all up. Matt, it was great lunch, or a great little breakfast, man, and I had a real joy meeting you, and appreciate the church tour too. Y'all have a beautiful campus there. But Jason's talking about this tree. You might consider a cable. I don't think it needs it at this stage in the tree's life, Jason, but I do think it would be wise to maybe consider in the next decade or 2, maybe installing kind of a triangle system. And essentially you would be wanting to connect all three of these branch unions we've got here. So essentially it forms like kind of a fully wrapping around and holding all of those primary stems together. So that's kind of what I would do with that. I don't think it needs a cable now, a cabling system now, but it would be a good idea to look at that in the future. So the only other thing I might add to that is we can do a growth regulator, which will actually shut down the outward growth of the branches, and it'll basically force that tree to regrow the root system even stronger and grow that woody tissue even stronger, to where it's less and less and less likely to fail structurally. So, and you know what? I just realized, you guys, I'm not actually tagging you guys in these, so I need to start doing that. I suppose that would be the responsible thing to do. So I'm sorry Lucas is not here, and I'm just, like I said, bull in a china cabinet, or a fish trying to climb a tree. I'm looking like an idiot here, y'all. But yeah, I would definitely check into that. If you can find a local guy, that's great. Hit up treesaregood.org or .com. We're actually working on building a preferred vendor list in-house here, to where we get only the best arborists that I know throughout the nation. No matter where you are, this will be a great resource for you to go through, because quite frankly, somewhere in the world is the world's worst arborist, and they're probably booked tomorrow, y'all. So make sure you're hiring. a good arborist, and this is going to be a great resource for that. So, um, oh shoot, I forgot to do it. I'm supposed to be doing the YouTube link. That's what I'm missing. Where am I? Y'all are just probably just looking at my stupid face up here, trying to figure out my life. View your channel. Okay. Trying to find that to link the YouTube version of that. By the way, for those of you that don't know, we are on YouTube. I teach and educate about trees all the time. Matt and I were checking Matt Neff and I. He's Matt, I'm Matt. It gets really confusing, but we'll get through this together. And it's really easy for me to remember his name too. But we were checking out some of the videos, and he was kind enough to come like me. So if you haven't yet, hop on over to the tubes of you and come join us, because we need to teach more people about trees. Trees are awesome, you guys. Trees are designed by God to improve our lives partially. So, humble opinion. I see the one trunk is larger than the rest. Oops, sorry. Here, we're not talking about cats and trees. The one trunk is larger than the rest. Yes. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's a really great point. Jason, if you're still with me, buddy, Sprout over here is, let's see if I can post that. He's saying that somebody was saying to promote airflow on it. Just make sure you're not recommending lion's tailing. Yo, Sprout, by the way, is an up and coming arborist. He's not even an arborist yet, but he knows more about trees than some of my arborist friends. So I'm not gonna mention names. Don't worry, y'all. So. Can the smaller tube be pruned to be subordinate even more than the main one? Yes, absolutely, Sprout. It can, and really that training should have started like 10 or 20, 30 years ago. But, somebody said the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. So I guess the same goes for that subordination. I don't think you would be able to get rid of those two limbs, Sprout, but I think subordinating them and making them a minor part of the tree versus a major part of the tree would really go a long ways to help. So yes, you can train that into it. That's a really great point, man. All right, so we're moving on. I think we're caught up for the most part on the most recent ones. We haven't had a whole lot come in, but we did miss some over. Yeah, I was wondering. I don't know Basswood that well. We don't have them here. I couldn't identify that one, honestly, Sprout. You got a better eye for those northern trees, I think, than I do even. All right, where were we? Let's go all the way back to December, y'all. Now, I know during the holidays, during Christmas and all that, we were out of town and kind of not doing much in the tree world. I don't know if we got to this one. I don't know if we did. I think we did. Yeah, we did that one. Okay, we're good. We did these. We're going back. We're going back. Almost there, you guys. Thanks for being patient with me. Oh, man, that's so cool. I know we've looked at these. We did these. Yep. We did that, I think. If we didn't, this might be a good place to start, actually. So Chris is asking, I can't remember. Let's see. What are the comments like? What are they looking like? Yeah, we did. Okay, my bad. My bad, y'all. Sorry. We're still moving. Oh yeah, I remember these. We saw that one. You're right, Sprout. I think we saw that one. We saw that one. We saw that one. Oh, this one maybe. I don't know if we did see Becky's. And this might be a good learning opportunity. Okay, yeah. I don't think we did this one. Okay, so Becky was asking, hey, I'm looking for help diagnosing what's getting to our mesquite trees and how to help them. Okay, so this was really a fun one because this one I was just typing it out. We haven't actually talked on it here, but this is really important. Hold on one second. Cool. All right. So Becky was asking about this tree, and she's thinking it's diseased. So well, Sprout, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we went over this one, anyways. But it's a beautiful mesquite tree. You can actually see some of the leaves here. That's one thing I'm looking at. Is I'm looking at the leaves. They look healthy. I don't see any sort of splotches or splotches or anything nasty on it. Ain't nothing chewing on it, which is pretty normal actually. Mesquite trees are really beefy, burly trees. They're awesome trees to have here in Texas, especially when we get drought type weather. So, but she's thinking maybe because of the different colored bark, because of the flaking, because of this exposed tissue here, that maybe it's got a disease. And then so I tell her, to me that doesn't actually look like a disease. It looks like mechanical damage. Mechanical damage is basically a blanket term that means it done got bumped. I mean, literally, that's what it means. Is something bumped it and marred it up, and it is what it is. That's very, 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 very normal that a tree is going to get damaged. Sometimes deer rub on it. Sometimes you're mowing and bump it with the lawnmower or whatever. There's tens of thousands of reasons why a tree can get mechanical damage. You can have a rock get thrown. I've had that happen once. A rock got thrown by a kid standing at a bus stop once and damaged a tree almost irreparably. It's a big rock. I had another one where I had just become a certified arborist, probably 2010, 2011 timeframe. I was brand new as an arborist, out there just excited to take on the world. And my brother invites his friend over, and they just wanted to strengthen their arms. So they started hitting the tree with a baseball bat. My younger brother, mind you, was like, my much younger brother. And it just drove me nuts because I'm like, you just mechanically damaged the tree. So that's what we mean by mechanical damage. So she said it wasn't, she said she had someone tell them it's a canker disease. And that's when I really realized the problem is this is bad advice. Somebody told her that this is a disease. This is not a disease. And by the way, all of that different colored tissue there is a beautiful thing. That's called callus tissue, callus wood tissue. And it basically is the tree's bandage. That's kind of like our scar tissue, if you will, is the tree is sealing over that wound. So that tells me this tree's going in the right direction. All the leaves I see, all the needles, everything looks healthy. You got a few dead limbs on it, but that's normal, especially mesquite. And so long story short, is I said, hey, sure, you're able to send that, but I really think that's funny. I really think you've got just a damaged tree, and yeah, I think she's fine. So just if you want to fertilize it, you can. Make sure you're getting a soil sample first to determine. If you want to do a biostimulant treatment, that's a much better solution. And we do have one option here that I personally like. It's a brand called Microlife made out of Houston. You can get it on Amazon or you can buy it straight from me if you're not in the Houston area. But it's basically a biologically active. All of their products are biologically active. So if I can get my interwebs to work, I'll post this one because this is just a really good general fertilizer. It's not, I don't want to do that. Copy. So if you really want to, Becky, you're absolutely able to use some Microlife on that and give it kind of just a little extra juice. But really, you probably should just leave it alone, honestly. The tree looks like he's doing a great job doing it on his own, so you don't have to do anything. That's the beautiful thing about trees, is they are genetically programmed. Programmed requires a programmer, by the way, they're genetically programmed to heal and seal and survive on their own. Somebody made the point is, long before certified arborists came around, we weren't really needed. So that's the unfortunate truth is we only exist because of because people exist. Yeah, trees don't need help in the forest. They only need help when people get them in a nasty place where they might need help. And so that's a really important consideration is you can very, very, very easily and I see it all the time, over manage your trees, particularly with overwatering is the most common problem I see is people overwater. That's going to promote fungal pathogens, etc., etc. Now you've got an anaerobic condition in the soil. That is no good. So hope that helps, Becky. We are moving on. All right. And let me find this here. Copy. So Jacob, excuse me, Jacob Selig. How would you prune this tree? Customer wants it to be round like a ball. He said he had previously had it shaped like that. Main question is, if you look closely at the photos, you can see where the limbs have previously been cut. There are now a lot of suckers growing out of every large cut. Would you cut the suckers off and leave where the guy left? Or be back a few inches on every limb? Cut, I think he means. Back a few inches on every limb and make new fresh cuts on the older limbs. No, 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 no. Don't do that. You don't want to cut the big woody tissue. What you really want to do is you want to do what's called a technique called pollarding. Let me backtrack. You don't want to do pollarding. You don't want to do any of that on this tree if you can avoid it, but the customer is going to get somebody to do it. So if you absolutely have to stoop down to their level, what you want to do is not hack, chop, and slice that woody tissue, because what happens is on the ends of those branches, the tree has been actively sealing those wounds. And so, anyways, if you cut back the woody tissue, oh my goodness, the tree has to reform all that callus tissue to grow over. But there's a really cool technique called pollarding. It's kind of a European style pruning. They used to do it thousands of years ago so that they can increase kindling production and things like that. And give me 1 second, I'll tell you all about it as soon as I type this, because I can't type and talk at the same time. There we go. Let's talk pollarding, y'all. So maybe many of you anyways, not all of us, but many of y'all have heard of a technique called crepe red rum. Crepe red rum. MURDER, because I can't say that word on the tubes of you, or otherwise they'll dox me. But crepe red rum, my wife calls it decrepitation, and I love that because it's so colorful and represents what that does so well. But essentially, Jacob, I would not cut that woody tissue. I would only cut all of the sprouts that emanate from there. And if you can cut the sprouts, if you can't cut the sprouts, rather, what you could do is top them best you can. And what will happen is the tree will form these really nasty callus knobs. Let me show you kind of what I'm talking about. Is right here, we got a crepe myrtle. And poor crepe myrtle branches off here, branches off here, branches off here, and some jerk years and years ago came in and they cut it. Well, what's happening is on each and every one of those cuts, and this is the end of the log, by the way, is all of this new tissue is going to start forming, and it'll kind of form like these nasty black-looking callus tissues. And believe it or not, that is exactly what you want to see. You absolutely want those callus knobs to form. And again, they're kind of ugly. They're not pretty when you first hack, chop, and slice them. But what that is specialized tissue called meristematic tissue. And again, I can't talk and type with stematic. See what I'm doing here? This is crazy, y'all. Meristematic tissue, or meristems. And think of that root word stem, like our stem cells can be undifferentiated. It's used in medicine a lot to heal humans. Well, those meristems, which is the individual cell, or that meristematic tissue, becomes new tissue where everything else sprouts from it. So again, topping's bad, Jacob. Don't top this tree anymore. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I know it's winter and you're probably hungry for more work, but if you have to, you want to make sure and do it right, and you want to do pollarding. Which is this. Versus topping, which was that. When they first made those cuts, they topped them. It's very bad. Hurts the tree, especially live oaks don't like that. You can recover after that first topping. You can do it. It's been topped. It's not good, but you can recover that tree and you can restore that canopy, and it's going to take at least a good 5 or 10 years to do it. Not great, but it can be done. And if you want, I'm happy to walk you through it too. Just hit us up at arboristoneDemand.com and we can schedule a digital consultation. But Yeah, that pretty much covers it. Is I do pollarding. Don't do topping anymore. Cutting the back, the woody tissue would be the definition of topping. You don't want to do that. You want to pollard it. All right. So Elegant Pineapple is asking, hello and good day. Hello and good day to you, Elegant Pineapple, too. Elegant Pineapple 6049. So I rent a duplex, and this beautiful tree has been losing limbs left and right. Unfortunately, the tree overhangs my parking area and the duplex itself. My concern is this tree looks very unhealthy to me, and hence losing so many limbs, I contacted my property management out of concern. Two questions. Do you think it looks unhealthy? A. And B. Is this a silver maple? Looks like a silver maple to me. Yeah. Whether it's healthy or not, I don't know because you're in Ohio and that was posted on December 29th. So that would be in winter and you could see all the leaves on the ground for winter. So I don't know, Elegant Pineapple. Do me a favor if you have some better pictures, maybe of maybe during the growing season what you're talking about. Because I'm sure if it really freaked you out, then maybe you took some pictures during the summer to send to the landlord or whatever, but I can't tell from the winter pictures. The tree has defoliated. That's totally normal. Some species will accumulate deadwood and shed it routinely. This works out just fine. What do we got? 36-minute mark. All right. So I hope that helps. I'm sorry I can't be of much more service and help than that, but yeah, you've got a tree that's going dormant. I don't know whether or not it's looking healthy. What I do see is structural unsoundness. I see this limb right here has a really weak branch attachment point, and this branch right here would be the definition of what we call a codominant lead. Codominant is where you get two branches of equal or around equal size and they branch off from the same point. Think of it like you had one terminal branch and bud, and it broke off into twins. And so you get these two equal sized limbs that are growing out of one spot. That is a recipe for disaster structurally. So whether it's healthy or not, I don't know. I would love some more pictures if you can, and maybe we can answer that a little better. But in lieu of that, at least I can tell you you've got a structurally weak tree. Now, whether or not that's going to cause damage to you, I don't know. And Guy Mayer actually said kind of the same thing. Yeah, that's what I was wondering too, Sprout. Sprout made a pretty good point. Is judging by how that one cut is almost sealed below the codominance. He's talking about this one right here. It may be healthy. Also, it may be retrenching, judging by the size of the tree. And actually, Ronald brought up a really good point there too. He kind of said the same thing. Some species of trees, even when they're perfectly healthy, will accumulate deadwood and shed it routinely. This works out just fine in nature, but not so much in an urbanized situation, right? So that's why you get them pruned. Pruning is not so much a health thing, but more of a structure thing. There's a guy by the name of Dr. Alex Shigo who has a wonderful quote that I just love. He says, pruning is one of the worst things you could do to a tree, but one of the best things you could do for a tree. So we can structurally prune a tree when it's young and make sure it's really strong when it's old. But every one of those cuts is called a pruning wound. We wound the tree to accomplish our goal, which is a good goal. It's to not get hit in the face with with falling wood. So that's fair. Anyways, I hope that helps. Elegant Pineapple. Let's make sure my post. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, but that's a really good point, Sprout. Is yes, that is a good sign of good vigor. Vigor is the term for a tree's rate and ability to grow. Vitality is more on the health side of it. So, all right. So, anonymous participant is asking, shared urban garden. Hope you're well. Seeking advice on a mature black locust in a shared urban garden that is currently under threat of being felled. I'm particularly interested in best practices for pruning mature black locust, root management strategies in confined urban spaces. What happened? Where'd y'all go? Oh man, did we do that again? We did. Oh goodness. I'm sorry, guys. I'm always clicking all the wrong things. Wonder if there's a way to organize it by month. That way I don't have to scroll through here every time. Because we're going backtracking on some of the questions that came in over the winter. That was a fun one to go over. But if y'all didn't catch it, we are growing and growing and growing. We're all the way over 5,200 people now. So thank y'all for being a part of this group. We're growing and growing, guys. It's pretty exciting. Let's see. Oh, hey, that's a really good point. Sprout's really knowledgeable when it comes to invasive species too. He's saying that it may be invasive if it's not in the Ozarks in some areas of Illinois. It's crazy invasive everywhere else, and that's a really good point. We never had them. We had honey locusts in Texas in the no, we did. We had black locusts in Dallas actually, and they have thorns for days. They hurt. Um, if I remember, honey locusts had the thorns on the branches, and black locusts had the thorns on the trunks all over. So every time you run it through the chipper, you get shredded. Um, all right, so best practice for pruning mature black locust trees. They're about the same as any other tree. Is make sure the soil's not compacted. Make sure if it's drought, you occasionally water it. But otherwise, do it, leave it alone. People overmanage their trees and cause all kinds of problems. So, and Sprout makes a good point. If it truly is invasive, if it's not part of the Ozarks or parts of Illinois, then you're going to have a really big problem uh, with it getting out of hand. So you may actually consider that they've got a pretty good point. Unfortunately, just structurally prune it. That's the main thing. Is it's in an urban garden, in a combined garden, so you want to make absolutely certain that it's not going to come crashing down on everybody's face. Yeah, let's check out the that's a good point, Sprout. Let's check out the comments. I'd recommend in most cases structural prune deadwooding performed by an arborist with sanitized cutting tools. Remember less is more when it comes to removing live growth. I'd recommend a deep root micro fertilization and mycorrhizal inoculant, as well as cambistat and potentially a reliant basal bark drip. I can't argue with most of that. It sounds like you're overdoing things, but you don't need to do all of that if the tree's in good health. Did you know you can safely remove up to 1/3 of a tree's roots? I just chop the ones heading toward my garden. What? Yeah, that's not true. That's terrible advice, Carl. Nothing personal, man, but that is wrong. I'm with Ronald on this one. I didn't know that, and I'm a registered consulting arborist and board certified master arborist. By the way, there's only about 150 of us, so Ronald likes to think he knows what he's talking about, and I think he does too. So it's what I learned when I took a certification class at the Kansas Arborist Association in Manhattan, Kansas. Yeah, but I don't know who taught you that, Carl. I'm sorry. I'd love to see the context and cross reference. That was back in 1990. I'm retired now. That's why. Inferring that you can just chop third of the root system and not have a significant effect on the tree is just bad advice. I don't know where that would come from. The current protocol, the critical root zone extends 1 to 1.5 feet of radius for each trunk, inch of trunk diameter. Any root removal inside of that area will have a greater impact on the tree. You can remove some of the roots if necessary, but it must be done carefully. And the more you remove, the greater the impact on the tree. You never simply just chop some out. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Be aware that black locust trees will often send up vigorous root suckers when they're cut down. We removed a hazardous black locust street tree in Eugene, Oregon a decade ago, and the adjacent property owner had a forest of root suckers about 6 to 10 feet high the next year. Oh, that stinks. As far as pruning goes, encourage and stimulate new growth. Prune in the winter if you want to limit growth or slow it down. Prune in mid-growing season. Not sure what kind of advice you want on root management, but if roots are, for example, causing problems near the surface, check soil profiles and conditions. Dig some pits to discover soil texture profiles. Tree roots will grow wherever environmental conditions allow root extension each year. There's adequate oxygen. That's what I was talking about with the compaction levels. Moisture and nutrients, those new roots will survive and keep extending each year. If the soil is severely compacted, they will grow at the surface to get those things. If sanitary sewer line trenches were not properly dug and refilled and compacted, root growth will happen downward to the pipes, etc. Oh, that's actually a really good point. I've seen that too. I never actually put A and B together and said, oh, that's why. But yeah, I've seen that in sewage pipes and stuff when they come in and retrench a yard. You'll see roots that'll just like find that and love it because they don't pack it in nearly as tightly. Do research on root barriers if that's what you think might help, since these trees are nitrogen fixers. They don't need a supplemental nitrogen fertilizer. Oh, I love this person. Who are you? Mark Snyder. You know your trees, bro. I'm impressed. In fact, all trees are pretty much nitrogen fixers. They just use bacteria to do so. On the strip mine spoils that treated sewage sludge. That's how those lands were reclaimed. The black locusts use atmospheric nitrogen and biosolids to take root and continue growth that built new soil layers. Yes, a lot of trees, a lot of weeds even are actually soil mechanics, is what I start calling them now. Greatly appreciated any advice, preserving and regarding health, stability, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's real generic. Normally I don't answer those, but it is a black locust, and that's a pretty good point. It's like we want to see what's going on in the comments section too. We actually monitor that. Not on that one, I missed it, but we monitor these things. So like when people are giving bad advice, I actually go in there and remove or hide the comments because it's bad advice. And that's not to control and stop free speech. That's because man, I want this to be a place where people can come to get good advice, not really terrible advice that's going to cost them lots of money and potentially their trees. All right, we're moving on. Help with Browning Pines, please, in Houston. Planted 20 years ago from the Google Street View by 3 loblolly pines that progressively turn brown from the bottom upwards. Now completely brown. Is this that notorious fungus? No oozing tar, or have they grown too crowded? That to me, any help appreciated. Yeah, I do see the scale there. But that's not what's going to kill the whole tree. Unalive! Unalive! My bad. Okay, so it doesn't look like we had a long conversation with that. Tortoiseshell scale. I don't see any bugs. Do you see them in the photos? Yeah, those white nodules. Hey, and I'm sorry, Mark, we didn't get a better thing going. Better answers for you. Most of these get self-handled, and so I just stay out of it unless there's like I need to monitor. But I don't know, to be honest. It doesn't. The dying rapid, the unaliving, excuse me, rapidly like that kind of sounds like, and you're really chlorotic on those trees too. Chlorosis, or a chlorotic tree, we would call it, is essentially a lack of nutrients causing a hormone imbalance in the tree. And so what happens, chlorophyll is a pigment, believe it or not. That's what gives the color. It's green. There are carotenoids and anthocyanins underneath those greens. The green is kind of overpowering, so most trees are green. Some trees you have really high levels of anthocyanins and carotenoids, and that's why we have yellow and oranges in nature and in flowers and stuff like that. But on trees, they're not supposed to be yellow. Most of them. Ginkgos will handle that really well, and some varieties even seem to be like very yellow. There's some eastern redbuds that can be hybridized and have like a nice yellow color to them. But 9 times out of 10, when you've got a tree and it's looking kind of yellow or real light green like that, you've probably got a chlorotic tree. So I know Houston. I know we have IPS engraver beetles out the wazoo here, but I don't have any evidence showing that would be the case. They do, however, if the tree got it, they have a blue stain fungus. Don't get me lying on the specific epithet of that, but they have a blue stain fungus that really is pretty nasty. It blocks nutrient transport. It basically clogs up the vascular tissue in the tree, and it usually is introduced via pine bark beetles. So maybe you got it treated and covered, and you do have the blue stain fungus in there. Once the tree is removed, you'll know. And by the way, I do believe it needs to be removed. I'm sorry to say, but yeah, there's no coming back from that on a tree that brown. But most likely, I would be willing to bet money it's probably a pine bark beetle issue. Where do we talk right here? I need to get this link. I keep forgetting to tag y'all. Sorry. All right, so let me go back and tag you, buddy. Sorry. I'll figure out how to run this show here soon enough. One of these decades after we do this. Let's say 40-minute mark. I don't know. Somewhere in there. But yeah, I hope that helps. I'm sorry. I gave you a list for a. Oh, there are other comments. Is that seriously? Is it doing that most relevant? I hate that. I hate the most relevant thing. Whoever came up with that, Mark Zuckerberg, is just rude. I don't like it. But yeah, check out that. You can actually reach out to your AgriLife extension here in the Houston area. If you need to, Mark, reach out to me personally because I know the local TDA rep as well and some AgriLife extension guys that I can point you to. But basically, you're going to want to get them to help you identify it. I really think it's pine bark beetles, particularly the IPS engraver ones, just kind of what I'm hearing here. But yeah, Ryan's a great arborist too. Ryan, stop marketing. Don't do that. Drought stress, yeah. Yeah, I'll second this thought. Check the soil moisture. Trees competing with lots of plants and even irrigation may be inadequate, especially since focus on trees and grass and shrubs and not deep root watering. One with camellia or Camellia? Camellia, maybe. I don't know. Yes, only deep and infrequent. Yeah, I think it's a drought stress. You might have some beetles active that you just aren't seeing the evidence of them yet. That happens too. The beetles will unalive the tree, and then later on, you'll see the evidence of as the tree is falling. You'll see all the little IPS engraver beetles kind of scatter once it hits the ground and go find the next pine. All right, we're moving on. Ooh, that looks like an Inonotus pathogen. I just saw these giant fungal-looking things on a large oak, which is very close to my own house. I am out in the West Georgia area of Carroll County. I would like to find a reputable arborist to come and check it out. Oh, that's a great call. That's exactly why we are... Ooh. I'm going to have to read that. That's a good one. Okay, so go to that website, Anonymous, and... Well, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Did y'all see that? It's magic. Hey, thanks for the like, whoever did that too, by the way. That really helps push it out to the algorithms. We're really trying to grow this channel this year, our YouTube channel. So if y'all see something you like that I'm posting, do me a favor and share it out there with all your cool face web friends as well. That really helps out a lot. Hey, what's up, buddy? How's things over in the Central Texas? Glad to have you here, Chingos. Oh, right. I forgot I'm supposed to post the... this thing too. This thing. Why is it doing that? So rude. Yeah, man, we need rain too. Yeah, you're not alone, man. It's pretty dry out here. We did on the west side. We got a little bit of rain, but not on the south side down here by me in Houston. Man, I know. I'm not multiple personality disorder, or we're not multiple personality disorders. Sorry. Is that they, them? Is that how that works? I don't know. I've never tried. So, yeah, but what you're going to want to do is find out specifically what pathogen is going on there or what fungus is going on there, Anonymous. What we at? 51? You know, I know. We're Texans, so we can talk like that, I think, and get away with it. Unless you're in Houston, Austin, Texas, Dallas, San Antonio, maybe. I don't know. All right, so Misty's asking, I have acquired a property in South Texas, which has what I consider an ancient oak. This tree is 21 feet in circumference. By the way, divide that. That's about 7-foot diameter. We use pi, so 21 divided by 3.14 would be around 7-ish. One of the pictures will show you a fence post the tree is grown around. I love that. It just ate it. That's how they work. That's called compartmentalization. That's what that does. It grows around stuff. There are some limbs that likely need to be pruned, but would like some advice before we do anything. Our goal, help this beautiful tree be healthy and live longer. For your information, we've been in multiple year droughts, so that likely has affected the tree that lives in sandy loam. Yep, so sandy loam's not going to have as good of moisture retention. So yeah, I would actually water it, and that's about it. I would not. It's out in the middle of a field, Misty. I don't think you have to do anything to this tree. I would get rid of maybe help it out a little bit just by knocking some of that dead chunky wood off of there. You could even just take like a mallet and knock most of it out. It looks pretty decayed. Or have an arborist come out and prune it off properly. You do not, whatever happens, Misty, whatever happens, you do not want to cut into that new growth tissue. That will damage the tree. You don't want to do that. And it takes a lot of energy for the tree to produce that callus wood tissue. So basically, I would just leave this alone for the most part. I'm wondering what's up here though, because it looked like it was in the middle of a field, but now it looks like there's a roof over it. So backtrack a little. That must be just your little cart mobile. Whoa. Yeah, yeah. If anything, maybe a little lightweight reduction just to make it less likely to break in a storm. But honestly, I would, uh, yeah, I just leave it alone for the most part. Just have an arborist, and if you're in South Texas, I might know some guys. So if you want, feel free to reach out to me, Misty, and we can hook you up with a good arborist. My own company, we do local work, anyways. You said South Texas, like Houston, Texas. So maybe down by Corpus or even further, Brownsville and all that. But anyways, I hope that helps. I would basically just leave it alone. Maybe give it some supplemental water since it's in a drought. Maybe add some humic acid. You can even do some compost or some mulch around the base of it. But really, I'm a minimalist. Like if the tree put it there, we got to have a better reason to take it off, and just leave the trees alone. She posted in another. She was in Beeville. Okay, where is Beeville? Oh, I know I've driven through there or something. Hold on. Beeville, Texas. Yeah. Okay, so that's south of your turf there. Yeah. Yeah, not a big deal. And I agree. That's probably a 300 or 400 year old tree easily. So maybe restore that area as an oak savanna if it is just a pasture. Invasive pastures are sad. Actually, the thing about that is live oaks actually do like kind of being out on their own in the lonesome. They have no competition. They can grow as wide as they need to. So this is a live oak or maybe a coast live oak, but I think it's Quercus virginiana. No, I think that's coast live oak. And I'm drawing a blank on the name. Yeah, live oaks love with that wide growth pattern they have on their branching structure. Oh man, they just love just being out in the open and just living wild and free, you know. So I think the tree is fine. I think it's shedding limbs as it doesn't need it. Looks like somebody pruned it in years in the past, but yeah, I just leave it alone. Let it do its tree thing. It's a beautiful tree. Looks like it has a lot of rot. Somebody said it looks like it has a lot of rot. Y'all know how I feel about that? So that's how I feel about it. Humble opinion. Looks like it has a lot. Looks. If you decide to keep, I would only cut the dead out, the unalived out. Excuse me, face webs, and let nature run its course. If it's far enough away from the everything as to not cause damage if it fell or broke. Yep. Okay. No, we're in a total agreement there. Sorry, Josh. Nothing personal, but yeah. So what? If it has a lot of rot, I just looked at a tree that was transplanted about 63 inches in diameter, so not quite this big, but definitely only 2 feet less. Huge monster tree, and one of the main limbs. I'll maybe see. Let me see if I can find a picture. One of the main limbs had a gigantinormo cavity in it, and it was so cool. I love the fact that they picked that, even with that gigantinormo cavity, because quite frankly, that's not a big deal. That is old school 1970s way of is, oh well, it's got some unalived wood, it's got a big cavity in it, therefore it's condemned. What we now know is that tree structure and tree health are not the same. They are similar in many ways, but they are not the same whatsoever. So we have to look at them as kind of separate and also kind of similar and the same. I'm not finding my big picture of this cavity, but here's a big picture of the tree. Oh, let me get that one. That's a good picture. I'll show you all this. 1 second. This one. Can you see that? Load. Hello. Gigantic normal tree. Can you believe that they transplanted that tree? That's still like I love the work that these guys do. Environmental designs, treemover.com if you want to see some incredible work. And they've got a great Facebook page, and they post on their LinkedIn all the time too. But they do some really unbelievable things. The owners invented basically a way of hydraulically lifting trees from underneath them. It's wild. So, anyways, super cool project. I wish I was there. Anyways, getting back to y'all's questions, we are over time, by the way. So, just so you know, I'm going to be closing shop here in just a minute. I don't know what I just did there. What the heck is that? I don't know what this is. Okay. Yeah, delete that group. All right, and we are back here. This is what I wanted to do, was click on that button. And I can't remember. Oh, I did. Okay, we got it. We got it marked like a good, responsible young arborist. All right, so let's look at one more here from Jay DeSalvo. And this is on December 28th, 2 days after my birthday. I was basically gone. My wife and I were taking a few days away from the kids. All right, so new growth starts out yellow in this windmill palm. Here's in the mid-Atlantic region. There are a couple varieties that are very cold tolerant and so easy to grow. All that's required is a sunny location and a proper planting. If you're not a grower but would want to try it, palms could be very easy. Yeah, as on the coast. I disagree. Palms are. Hey, later, buddy. I appreciate you being here, man. Chingo's a great guy. He's a brilliant arborist too, out of Austin area. So if y'all need a good Austin tree guy, let me know. He's mostly a consultant. All right, so yeah, I respectfully disagree, Jay. I hate to end on a negative note, but Jay, I disagree. Palms are not trees. They are trees by definition. They're genetically completely different, though. They're genetically closer to a grass, believe it or not, than they are a tree. Like a deciduous tree. So palms, not a fan. They unalive a lot of people in my industry because they may look good, but be structurally decrepit. And like I said, they're structured way different. So with that, I'm going to call it, you guys. Thanks again so much for being here. Love having you guys with me every Tuesday and Thursday night and talking about crazy stuff like pollarding and whatever meristematic tissue and all that. But it's been real. I really appreciate having you guys again. If you'll do me a favor, hit that like button. That'll help push the channel and this video out to more people. I'm sorry if I did this video and I didn't tag you. By the way, I'm missing my right hand man. He's just gone. I don't know. I hope he made it home on time and in one piece. But glad to have you guys in this group. Again, if you need help or a closer look at your trees or your use case law or your tree case law, your litigation law involving your trees, or really just figuring out what kind of tree it is and what's going on with it and how to best care for it. We do digital telemedicine for trees online all day, all the time. No matter where you are in the world. Just follow us over to arboristondemand.com. Hey, you too, Sprout. Thanks, buddy. And yeah, just hit us up on the web at arboristondemand.com. And oh, goodness, I can't even spell. This is where I'm at, you guys. I'm still sick. So I was asking what R is. Hit us up on the web at arboristondemand.com. I made a few updates to it. Check this out, you guys. Free tree check. You can upload your photos of your tree, figure out what kind of tree it is, how it's doing, and approximately how much it's worth. I've got a free little tool here that I built using AI and programming, which I'm not a programmer at all. But fortunately, nowadays, we got some really cool technology to help us out. So go check it out. And again, we'd love to have you help you out in any way we can with your trees. Just schedule a free, or not a free, but schedule a tree consultation right here at arboristondemand.com. We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.